In the quiet halls of St. Jude's, where every room holds a story, Nurse Elena was known for her calm spirit. But her greatest challenge arrived in room 402. Mr. Thorne, a man whose bitterness was as sharp as his tongue. He had driven away every other nurse with his constant complaints and harsh demands. Elena entered with a smile that never faltered, even when he greeted her with a scowl. "I don't need your pity," he snapped. Elena simply replied, "I'm not here to pity you, Mr. Thorne. I'm here to care for you." Days turned into a grueling routine. Mr. Thorne's demands were relentless, his words often cruel. He complained about the food, the noise, and the very air he breathed. He seemed determined to be unlovable. Yet, Elena never raised her voice. She listened to his anger as if it were a story she needed to understand. She began to notice the small things, how he winced at the bright light, or the way he clutched a tattered old photo. She realized his bitterness wasn't hatred. It was a shield for a heart that had been deeply wounded. One evening, the storm outside matched the one within Mr. Thorne. He was in more pain than usual. He lashed out, shouting at Elena to leave him alone to die in peace. He wanted to push her away like everyone else, but she didn't leave. She sat in the corner and began to read a book of poetry in a low, soothing voice. The words drifted through the room like a lullaby, cutting through his wall of resentment. For the first time, he didn't tell her to go. He just listened to the rhythm of her voice. The next morning, Elena brought him his favorite tea, even though it wasn't on the hospital menu. "How did you know?" he whispered, his voice raspy. "I heard you mention it in your sleep," she replied. A flicker of something, was it gratitude, crossed his face before he looked away again. The words drifted through the room like a lullaby, cutting through his wall of resentment. Slowly, the difficult patient was disappearing, replaced by a man who was simply lonely. Then the crisis came. Mr. Thorne's heart, weakened by years of stress, began to fail. It was a frantic hour of sirens and shouting. Elena was there, her hands steady, her eyes focused. Through the haze of pain, Mr. Thorne felt one thing clearly: the warmth of her hand holding his. She whispered encouragement, refusing to let him slip away into the darkness. When he finally opened his eyes, she was the first thing he saw. "You're still here," he breathed. Recovery was slow, but something had fundamentally shifted in room 402. Mr. Thorne began to say please and thank you. He even asked the other nurses about their days. Elena went above and beyond, bringing him books from the library and music that he loved. He told her about his late wife, the source of his grief, and the reason he had shut the world out. She listened for hours, allowing him to finally mourn the life he had lost. One afternoon, Elena found him sitting up in a chair by the window, looking out at the gardens. "I spent so much time being angry at the world for taking her," he said softly. "But you showed me that there is still goodness left. You didn't have to be so kind." Elena smiled. "Kindness is a choice, Mr. Thorne, and it's one that heals more than just the body." The wall around his heart hadn't just cracked, it had completely crumbled away. A week later, it was time for Mr. Thorne to go home. He was a different man than the one who arrived. He shook hands with the staff and apologized to those he had been harsh with. To Elena, he handed a small envelope. "Read this when I'm gone," he whispered. He walked out with a straight back and a heart that felt lighter than it had in years. She watched him go, knowing that she hadn't just saved a life, she had restored one. In the break room, Elena finally opened the note. It was simple, yet profound. "Thank you for seeing past my shadow," it read. "You taught me that it's never too late to be kind." She tucked the note into her pocket, a reminder of why she chose this difficult, beautiful path. Every day since, she carries that lesson with her into every room she enters. Because empathy isn't just a skill, it's a light that can pierce the darkest of hearts. The moral of the story is simple. Kindness is a language that even the deaf can hear and the blind can see. When we choose to see the pain behind someone's anger, we offer them a chance to heal. Take a moment today to be that light. A small act of patience can change a life forever. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for watching. Spread kindness, always.